time to chit chat. You know nothing about blockchain, we here to fix that. You want the news on them new stocks, this where you get that. So go and grab you a nice chair, it's time to sit back and talk to profit. Hey, hey.
And we are going live with Nick Black in 5, 4, 3, 2.
1, 2, 3. What happens if I go the other way? What do you do then, Brandon? What do you do when I go the other way?
A whole 30 minutes of counting.
We just keep counting. We just count for 30 minutes. And 246,000. See you Thursday.
You know what? Mr. Beast made it huge by doing that very thing. He counted to what? 100,000? That's how he got his start in life. Mr. Beast. Have you never heard of him? Jimmy Donaldson? No. Dude. No. Jimmy Donaldson.
Counted. What does he do?
This is how you'll get your plaque, Nick. You'll finally get one of those plaques that you talk about on YouTube. He's the highest paid YouTuber.
For counting?
No, of all time.
But for counting, he counts? That's it?
Yeah. That's how he initially started his YouTube channel. He started counting 1 to 100,000 without like taking breaks. That's it.
How long did it take?
A day, like a day and a half or something like that.
He counted for 36 hours.
Yeah, dude. This is legit.
He just kept counting.
Go look it up. He kept counting. I'm not messing.
For 36 hours.
It was like the reverse of what I just did, but like, yeah, cooler. Yeah, 5, 4, 3, 2. But
if he did count million. If he did count for 36 hours, he deserves to be the highest paid anything ever.
Okay.
They should put him in charge of SpaceX.
Yeah, he is friends with Elon. Yeah, he's gonna go up, hang out with Elon. We're gonna do that stuff. So yeah,
counting.
I can't believe you
good
don't
for
know
him,
this, dude. All right,
that's a hustle. I wouldn't have done it. I don't have it in me.
I don't have it in me either.
I get into the teens, and my mind starts to wander. By the time I hit like 40, I start second guessing if I've already been through the 40s again. I'm like, dang, is this the second time?
It's like going to cosmetology school. You get distracted very easily.
I had to someone was like, there is a difference between cosmetology school and cosmology. Cosmology, planets, stars, parallax angles, and science. Cosmetology, science.
Yeah.
It is a little different.
Both equally,
they're valuable
on the same level.
They're on the same level. They've done the same good for humanity. But anyway, okay.
Why do you keep clearing your throat? You keep clearing your throat. It's weird.
It's because
anyway,
I want to sound official.
Hey, we have a good show today. Look at this.
Welcome to the American Institute for Cryptocurrency Investors. That was a long dithering welcome, wasn't it? We're going to talk about the markets, which are green. First time in, 7 months or something. No, they're a little bit green. Well, we were joking earlier. If they go down, 17 days in a row, you're bound to have a decent up day. At some point, people just buck the trend. So we will see. Is this, we're moving into June and everyone's happy? Are you happy to get out of a bad month? Does it make you feel better to like move into a new month, Brandon, when especially when your investments have been in the tank, just kind of floating around the bottom of the toilet, and then you're like, well, Wednesday is a new month. Everything's going to change. Does that make you feel better?
Unfortunately, I didn't go to cosmology school, so really a new month has literally
or cosmetology school.
So it has no effect on my life or well-being. It all blends together, especially after you have 400 kids like I have. Like literally nothing affects me mentally or emotionally.
You've got so many kids. You've got so many kids. There's actually scientists, whole universities that just want to study the effect of so many kids on a uterus.
Yeah, okay.
They just want to study it.
Dude, what do we got?
It's like, this looks like a car garage. Cars come in, cars come out. Cars come in, cars come out.
Hey, so green markets today. This is good. This is really good.
Do we have our new soundbite? We got to start the day off with our new soundbite. Do we have it?
You got it. Oh, you want it now?
This is what we do. When you guys think we're studying markets and all that, we're not. No, what we're really doing is setting up Sound bites for 5 seconds of digestion. This is where you come in with a clip. This is where you drop the clip. Worst producer ever. All right.
So, couldn't hear it. It was playing.
No one could hear
it.
There was nothing happening. No,
dude, it was
no one heard it
the whole time.
Did anybody
ask in the chat? Yeah, let's ask.
No one heard it.
Go ahead.
No one heard it.
What?
No one heard it.
Dude.
No, because we would be getting reactions.
I literally played it twice. Don't even at me right now.
Nope, nothing. See, did not hear it.
Well, maybe
because you are broadcaster number 2.
Maybe you need to get your friend closer to the pig eating the carrot. Have you ever thought of that?
Because you're broadcaster number 2. You're not like America's Milquetoast Dad. You don't even have a mug. All right, let's look at the markets first. Let's go through. Since you can't do sound bites, maybe you can put my screen share up. Maybe we can nail that. Hey, 1 out of 2 ain't bad. Why are you wasting our time? Dear God. Patriot girl, you just won the internet. Okay, here's what's going on with markets. Bitcoin survived what people thought was going to be some crazy action on Friday because of some options expiration. They have so very little to do with the price of Bitcoin. The Bitcoin options market, CME or otherwise, it's just not moving. No one cares, right? The main story in the Bitcoin space is you have a lot of Bitcoin that's no longer on exchanges. It's parked in wallets. It's custodied. It's private. It's air gapped. It's cold stored, whatever. It's not being traded. So the vacillations in the price of Bitcoin are from a very few Bitcoin exchanging hands, sometimes as some kind of treasury function, sometimes as some kind of balance sheet, whatever, but mostly just, the retail Joe Sixpack is trading a little bit of Bitcoin. This is what we're seeing. So just understand that, in your mind, if there are 21 Bitcoin, there's only about 3 trading, 3 of the 21. The other ones are either packed away or don't exist. So you're seeing these huge market cap swings based on just a very, very few little bitty tiny transactions. There just aren't wholesale giant transactions happening right now yet, which there we are. Okay. Ethereum, Ethereum did climb back out of the gutter. It was low 18s, high 1700s. How low did it go? Brandon, did it?
Dude, it was like 1750. Yeah, I think 1720.
It did get down. It did get down a bit and as you can see, it's down on the 30-day 20%. 30%. The high flyer today is the Cardano and AICI Infinity. AICI Infinity is just some hubbub over video game crap. None of it's super exciting, but some people seem to like it. Great. But AICI Infinity, I will say this, of the kind of wormy crypto video game type scenarios, it's the best in breed, but that's not saying much. That's like, well, I don't want to say anything mean, but like, when you're doing sports as a kid and there's like the one kid that his parents make him play, but he hates it. And he's like picking like flowers and stuff in the field while the ball goes back and forth. AICI Infinity is that kid. He's in the game, but he's not so got it all going on. It's not that interesting. They're not doing that many transactions. So it's going to be more hypey right now. I think the way, and you tell me what you think, Brandon, because I know you're big in the gaming space. Is it going to be crypto companies that go into gaming or gaming companies that go into crypto? Inverse. I think it's the second side.
Yeah, inverse, obviously. I mean, if you don't have a game that's going to be globally playable, let's take, for example, Clash of Clans or Clash Royale. If they were to integrate crypto into their game, crypto would be huge. Whatever token they integrate into their game, that would be big because that game is played on a mass scale. So you need to take that formula and replicate it in some way to be able to get crypto gaming to be something we're talking about.
That's what I thought. And so I just feel like these are the wrong. Now, you may have an AICI Infinity that partners up with one of these bigger games, but it's not going to be AICI Infinity releasing a video game that everybody goes, woo woo. It is so many tens or low hundreds of millions of dollars to get a game out the door, like Call of Duty or some of these big titles. there's I don't know if there's anyone in crypto that could meaningfully launch something like that. There's in the same way that new blockchains right now are going to be weak on talent. It's the same thing in the gaming space. The big game designers, big companies, they have all of the good tech talent, the software talent. So a new company spinning up out of dust, a new blockchain spinning up out of nowhere, it's on probably weak talent, which, so that's no good, right? Because we don't like those kinds of people blowing up our money, like Do Kwon blows up money. Anyway, so that's that. Cardano is, we talked about this yesterday. We didn't, but we did. I did another stream where we talked about that Cardano is going into a huge upgrade cycle this month with a lot of these Cardano improvement proposals releasing. I think it's 31, 32, 33, and 40. Those are all improvement proposals that do a variety of things. And they're so lots of upgrades this month for Cardano, but they are starting to onboard in Ethiopia digital identities for their like student identities. They plan to have 2 million new digital identities having been issued by the end of this year, 2022. And by the end of next year, they want to be at 5 million. My guess is they're under promising so they can hit those marks. My guess is they'll go 2 to 3 million this year, and they'll probably be, I don't know, a triple or more of that next year. So this, depending on how this works out, could be quite interesting. And so, I don't know any other project that's onboarding millions and millions, well, technically millions, 2 would be millions. If they got to 4, that'd be millions and millions, 2 plus 2, because math by the transitive property. So that would be interesting. There are no, and again, if you look at GitHub submits, if you look at in all of the ways you measure what a token and a project is doing, it is Bitcoin as far as, use. It is Ethereum in the NFT space, and it is Cardano as far as like every other metric. And as far as GitHub submits, which is new code being pushed, Cardano beats them all. As far as transactions underneath Bitcoin, Cardano beats them all. So just keep that in mind. And it's not to say, hey, I'm going to go load up everything in Cardano. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you can look at these infrastructure plays, and it's a good place to park your capital if you want to own what the future of Web3 might look like. We don't know who the winners are, but we have a good idea of who most of the winners are. You go back to infrastructure, go back to these, who's building the highways, the super highways, the railroad tracks of the future. And the cool thing in crypto is you can own all of them, and that's very valuable. Then the way you bias your ownership percentages in those buckets would be influenced by your belief in those projects, in their teams, in the tokenomics, and the timing. This is sounding a lot like the 5 Ts. It's sounding a lot like that because it is that. So that's the way in which I measure these things. So I have sectors, right, inside my portfolio. A sector might be store of value. A sector would be infrastructure. A sector would be artificial intelligence. A sector would be stable assets, which there's only really one you can hold, and that would be USDC. I do think the Ponzi scheme that was Tether is slowly becoming a non-Ponzi scheme because after indictments and fines and legal woes and sentences, the team at Tether have decided to take all of the Bitcoin and the Ethereum that they stole by printing counterfeit money and put it back into the coffers of Tether. You'll notice they started capitalizing Tether. Tether went from 2.5% cash to like 70% cash. Strangely, between the time of indictment and sentencing. Isn't that weird? Isn't it weird that before everyone got sentenced, Tether became more capitalized? Weird.
Fortuitous timing, isn't it, Nick? Fortuitous.
It's crazy. It's also crazy. Yeah. So, I mean, just some amazing things. But anyway, so there you go. So, take a step back, look at the space, look at your portfolio, try to imagine what you want that distribution of your portfolio to be. And let me just say this. If you're not an expert, it's okay. It's okay to not be an expert. We're all really good at very specific things. We're not all good at everything, right? So if you need an expert and you are not one, go and rent one. Okay, go rent an expert. This whole platform, people were like, man, they send me all these ads. Yes, they send you ads because they want to get you aligned with the expert that's best for you. It doesn't mean you have to say yes to everyone. Just find the people that you can relate to and consume their brain goo, suck their brain juice out and put it in your brain. And then did you ever see Heroes? Do you remember Heroes, Brandon?
That like TV series where people could fly and stuff? Is that the one?
Yeah, you're missing the finer points of it, but yes, yes. It was the guy, Simon, who his power was he could suck out other people's power.
Siler.
Yes, Siler. Oh, yeah, it's not Simon.
Yeah.
Siler. Ooh, he was mean,
so
man.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, you even knew the dude's name. You probably have it.
Yeah.
You probably have the Blu-ray.
Anyway, have it on DVR.
You have it on record, on vinyl. So it's like 4,000. Okay, so you need to be like that. Everybody here needs to be like that. You need to be absorbing the content from the people that you think, ooh, if I had that chunk of intelligence, I would stick it in my brain. So if you're not an expert in something, rent an expert and siler their brain goo into your brain. Right? That's the whole point of this platform. This is why you would not do that on CNBC. You would not do that on Twitter because you would just melt. Your brain would just melt in a goo. You'd be licking a window in some facility where they play the Carpenters all day long. You don't want that. That's not what you want. So in the process of doing this, when you do rent an expert, listen to what they're saying. I'll just leave it vague. I have a client who listens to me about 50% of the time. And that's no different than gambling. If you're just going to do something half the time, just throw darts. So if you rent an expert, listen to what they're saying. And I'm not really venting, although it cost him $130,000 last night. $130,000 in cash is what he lost by sitting on his hands or her hands. Could be a female, could be non-binary. Doesn't even have to have a gender. This individual doesn't even have to have a gender. All they have is the ability to not listen to my advice. But I saved him, her, they, them, or ziz. $467,000 2 weeks ago from would it be zero? So plus 467. And then when I told them to redeploy it, they were like, well. So here's the point to all this dithering. Either do the research yourself and rely on nobody. Or if you are absorbing someone's content, put it into action. Don't start throwing darts or what's the point of learning? It's like, I'm going to learn how to drive. And half the time I'll drive on the right side of the road and the other half I'll drive into oncoming traffic. That's counterproductive. So absorb. All right. That being said, Algorand, I think Algorand, here's what is still a big buy. Throw the screen up there real quick. I want to go to the things that I think are super juicy right now still, because I don't think the market's really moved that much. So even though, it's moved a little bit and I was like, okay, here's what's still really discounted. Cardano is still really discounted and they're going into upgrade cycle. Polkadot is still really discounted. And they keep talking about stuff happening with these parachains like Moonbeam and stuff, but it's not super exciting. Matic, people are going to lament missing this one. Most people will miss it and they will lament. I don't like Backed. I'm not a big fan of Backed. Near, I still think is uber cheap. It's under $6. Man, it was under $5. It was under $5. I wish we had the soundbite because everybody that didn't participate would get 5 seconds of digestion. But since Brandon can't get it right, I have to do it myself. Why? Why do I have to do my own? I should only eat blue M&Ms. I should have is it a manicure? Is the hands, right? That's a manicure, right?
Yeah, that's a manicure. Yeah.
Have you ever had a manicure?
No, I haven't. Have
you are a liar. You've definitely had a manicure.
Tell me more. Have you? Have you had a manicure?
I ain't letting no one touch my hands. You cray.
Bro. Okay.
I don't think I have. I have. I don't know what. I just cut my own fingernails. I cut every once a week. I cut my own fingernails. I don't know why I would pay someone to do that. People pay for a lot of stuff they don't need. Like, you can fix your own car. You know, you can fly your own airplane. There's all sorts of things you can do that you don't need anyone else. Okay, not the airplane one. That's a bad example. Anyway, yes. It's so good. Will Near get a coin? Will Near get a Coinbase effect? That's actually a good question. I think when people realize what Near is, it will get a pre-Coinbase effect. I don't know if there's a Coinbase effect anymore. I'm not a big fan of Gala. They just don't. They just don't do anything interesting over there. Okay, and then the last thing I was going to say, the Nexo token for those of you using Nexo. Nexo's really cheap. I'm actually going to grab some Nexo token because I use Nexo. Render, stay away from it. Fetch. I think that question comes up later. Fetch is I think Fetch at 16 cents makes a lot of sense. And it was, look at your November cheat sheet. Look at all your November prices. This thing was $1. It was over $1.10. It was over $1.10, bro. So you got to pay attention to it. It's still quality AI. It's the only, look, your AI bucket is really easy. It's Fetch, Singularity DAO, AGIX, and NewNet. And then the stupid dummy lottery ticket, which is Matrix AI, which only does good when the rest of the market's doing really good, because people that are not discerning, they look up AI and they see Matrix AI and they think it's a good company because there's a little Amazon logo, and it's almost certainly just copy and pasted, and Amazon has no idea they exist, and nobody at Matrix AI has anything to do with artificial intelligence. The AI probably stands for something that's different, but whatever. Anyway, it tends to go up when the market goes up, but it's not something that you would hold. Yeah, so that's all there is to say about that. And still stay away from Looks token. Stay away until we figure out. You'd rather be wrong by a little bit on this one and make sure that they can meaningfully compete with OpenSea, which it doesn't look like they are. Okay, sadly, let's attack some questions, shall we?
Look at what we have here. So Herb wants to know if he has his coin in a Coinbase wallet and Coinbase goes bankrupt, is he going to get risky? Can you still stake those coins even after Coinbase goes bankrupt or during? Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, first of all, if you have Coinbase wallet, you manage that. That's an Ethereum wallet. It's no different than a MetaMask wallet. Coinbase doesn't have access. The Coinbase wallet product was a company that Coinbase bought. It's not an exchange. So understand this. If you have coins, ERC20 tokens in Coinbase wallet, which is not Coinbase, it's just a company that they bought. It might as well be called Taco Bell wallet. Okay. Those are ERC20 wallets, and you do not have recourse if you lose your login information, and they don't either. Now I think they're trying to change that, where if you were to lose your access, but even if Coinbase went bankrupt, which I don't think is likely, but if they went bankrupt, those assets, they couldn't touch them anyway. They don't have access. Remember, or maybe not remember, but client assets, it depends on the way you own them. Now, margin account, securities in a margin account, they can nuke those. It sucks, but they can nuke those. However, in non-margin accounts, those are not their assets. They're a custodian, but it's not exchange assets. So, and again, there's a lot of differences, and some of it may even depend on the state that you live in, things like that. But with Coinbase Wallet, Coinbase doesn't have the stuff that's in Coinbase Wallet. You've got a wallet managed through that Coinbase Wallet product. You can take them and go stake them and do whatever you want. Coinbase doesn't have any control over that. So yeah. The Taco Bell Doritos Locos tacos are so good. So good. Anyway, all right. Next question.
This is a really good question because this is happening right now. Deborah wants to know about all the small cap coins, basically the coins that aren't really strong right now. What coins would those be? Would you get out of those coins? And what would you do in the market where you don't think maybe those coins are even strong enough to succeed in comparison with the bigger ones, I guess?
Okay, so here's the way it works. Would you buy them right now? If the answer is no, you have to, on your own, decide if you want to own them. Now, sometimes they're so for instance, if you had a coin that was you had $1,000 worth and it's worth $8 now, there's no point selling $8 worth of token and putting it somewhere else, right? Like, consider it a complete loss. And if the market was to go straight up, you might be able to get some of that change back. If you're buying stupid stuff, if you're buying meme coins and all that, and it got nuked, it's supposed to get nuked because they're dummy coins. And you don't want to be, not that you're a dummy, but if you're using gambling tokens, if you're buying gamblers kind of crummy assets, you should expect them to go to zero, because when you gamble and you put your money in on black and it ends up on red, you lose all your money. So you get nuked. So that's what's supposed to happen to bad assets with poor teams, poor technology, poor timing, poor software, poor implementation, and junior developers. They're supposed to get nuked to zero. And if you gambled on them, you're supposed to get nuked to zero. It's probably not what you want to hear. Now, which of them are going to come back? No one knows. Will they come back? Mostly not. So buy quality assets, and you don't have to worry about it. If you buy quality assets, it's like having a poker hand, and you can just sit at the table and wait for infinity for it to be a winning hand, and then cash it in when it's a winning hand. Next question.
This next question actually goes hand in hand with that because, as you know, Fetch dropped a little bit. So
hand in hand. Oh, wait, we can
Sarah
high five.
addresses. Oh crap!
Oh man!
Sarah addresses Eric, my good friend Eric, which I'm okay with. I am okay with her not saying Brandon. I think Eric's cool. What's up?
You mean America's number one milquetoast dad?
Oh, you know what? I had one audio routing issue. Anyway, go away. So what's up with Fetch? We haven't heard you talk about it for a while. Is it going to be one of those assets that succeeds?
I think so. They still have connections with Fireblocks. They're still doing cool stuff. They're mostly focused on cars. I think they have a big deal with Bosch. They are embedded deep in the automotive community. And so imagine in the future where you have cars communicating with gas stations and other cars and service stations. Well, I guess you wouldn't call it a service station, service facilities. So you have the big organism of cars, right? This kind of big gooey emergent mess. And they're trucking here and there, and you have software, you're pushing software upgrades and all this kind of stuff and firmware and all this. And then it senses, at the service facility, it senses something going on in your car. So it calls you in and it plans it. And so that integration between vehicles and the vehicle itself and the maintenance facilities and gas stations and all this, and the other vehicles as well in the organism of the emergent shape that is all these agents, these little agents on the network, which are other vehicles. And you could even have like a car is kind of like its own organism in the same that we have like little individual kind of living little things inside of us that are all doing these very interesting things that have nothing, basically that we don't talk to our mitochondria and be like, how's it going today? Doing good. So like cars have all these little systems that can be communicating not only with each other, but with service facilities and things like that, and other vehicles in real time, learning and shared behavior. This is what Fetch is kind of deep inside, that whole weird emerging full-time communication of vehicles and all of the periphery stuff. So that's pretty cool. They also are connected to Fireblocks. Fireblocks is connected to BNY Mellon. So there's some interesting connections there. Fetch has a lot going on. It's just not as sexy as what AGIX is doing, or well, what Singularity Net and Singularity DAO are doing. It's just not as sexy, but it's very valuable, I think. And again, 16 cents, Juicy. All right.
Seems juicy. What about Steve? He says here, are there any AI plays, and you maybe Fetch, but any AI plays you like?
Not any new ones. See that word new? We like to use all the words in a sentence, Brandon.
What?
We like all the words.
All the
we
words?
like all the words. Yeah.
Hey, what are some new AI plays that you like?
New ones?
Give it to me
None.
straight.
None. There's nothing new in the AI space that looks at all exciting. Look, it's even a narrower field. There's even less good developers in the AI space, meaning when you push a bunch of them at SingularityNet and NewNet and Singularity DAO and Fetch, and also the companies that are coming underneath AGI this year, SingularityNet's dropping Rejuve, and I think Hypercycle is next year, and Sophia DAO, and all of these verticals that they're launching underneath. There's no more big AI brains left. So the bench has been emptied, so to speak. So nothing new. On that note, I will bid you a fond pew pew. We will see you Thursday. Don't do anything my poor insolvent drunk strung out on meth grandmother or Brandon wouldn't do, and that's not that much. Pew pew. Pew pew.
Hey, this is the Prophet with